Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's semi-final winner's side matchup for the Risen Divine League between Omega Gaming Silence and Soulbound Mirage. My name is Gordo, and I am joined, as usually, by Rudude. Rudude, how's it going?
Very well this evening, Gordo. Super excited to get into the series here. Big game on the line, large stakes, and both teams definitely going to be searching for that victory.
That is absolutely the case, and we are getting right into picks and bans here. We can see that over on the blue side, which is going to be Soulbound Mirage for game one, they have banned away the Caitlyn, the Tarek, and the Elise, while Omega Gaming are taking away the Lilia and the Gnar.
Yeah, so some very topside oriented bands coming through for Silence and then for Soulbound Mirage. They're taking a stab at pretty much everywhere across the map. Caitlyn, a very stable ban, and the Elise, quite a target focused ban at Banky Kang here, taking away one of the comfort picks of himself. We know that he's also happy to play the Nidalee and things such as that, so the similar style junglers getting taken away, and Soulbound have already opened up their first round of picks.
Yeah, we're getting right into some of the spicy, more marksman picks right now. Not the usual Worlds meta that we've been getting used to. Instead, we're going to immediately see the Samira and then answered by the Kalista over on the side of Omega Gaming. This is going to be some aggressive bottom lanes.
Exactly, two bot laners that are both very adept at going in and trying to punish the enemy bot lanes early on in the game here. Callista, for me at least, feels like a bit of a counter to the Samira because of that leading damage source not being able to be blocked by the Samira with the Blade Wall. So often, these marksmen have a key projectile that the Samira will block. Notably, Ash is the classic example. You just W that ulti and you just pretty much win the trade. But Callista, all of the power comes from the Rend, which is something that cannot be disrupted via that W. So I like the pick in the bot lane from Silence. Azuto going on a more aggressive marksman, something that we've not seen from him too often. Typically, the Caitlyn getting picked up by him, which is obviously banned away here. So overall, solid first round ADC picks coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that the Alistair's been locked in as well, kind of eliminates a little bit of that flexibility potential from the Poppy. We're more likely to see a top lane than anywhere else as a result. Although whisperings of jungle Poppy I've heard before, it could happen.
Definitely is an option. Also, I mean, previously we have seen support Poppy, but with the Alistair locked in, I definitely don't expect that to be the pickup here. And Silence, they're going to pick themselves up a couple of tanky members right here. The Jarvan and the Galio, a very staple combination in that mid jungle role. The Cataclysm goes down, the hero's entrance over the top. Very straightforward, simple to execute League of Legends coming through.
Yeah, no, the Jarvan Galio combo absolutely been a staple of metas in days past, if maybe not quite as popular these days. Definitely going to be something similar to kind of the new age Camille Twisted Fate comps that we start seeing a lot of this past World Championship. The idea of just being able to pair up these champions, create something inescapable with that Cataclysm, and guarantee that you're going to be able to get some successful ganks off in the side lanes.
Exactly, and we're already into the second ban phase here, and we can see Soulbound Mirage taking away the Morgana from Banjito. Again, another comfort pick taken away on the bot side, and across on the other side of that, Silence getting rid of some really staple blind pick champions right here. Getting rid of Shen away from either the top lane or the jungler for Mirage, and then Kassadin as an answer to the Galio, one of those things that doesn't necessarily get too punished in the early game because the Galio is more of a sit back and wait for your first item, level 6, and help the team. Getting rid of that Kassadin really stops the potential of a late game snowball coming through from a champion that's just able to farm up next to it.
Yeah, we are going to see the blind top lane gangplank, quote unquote blind, as we can assume it's going into the Poppy. And that has just been a staple champion for Koros for a lot of at least the past couple of weeks. Just being able to sit there in the side lanes, farm on up on that gangplank, be able to lose a lane gracefully, and then be able to come in and have some huge carry potential later on. As we are looking at a Nico hover here, and it's locked in.
Definitely going with your theory here then, Gordo, of that Poppy jungle, those whispers turning into full-on shouts from Soulbound Mirage in game number one. Short of seeing some really adept or adverse Nico jungle gameplay, I definitely expect to see this Nico as an answer to the Gangplank in the top lane, something that we've seen in seasons gone past since Gangplank's rework and obviously since Nico's release. But Poppy going to be going into the jungle here for game number one, it looks like. Something a little bit different from Soulbound Mirage, and I honestly really like it as an answer to the Jarvan.
But it's been Galio's support
Oh,
all along, Rudude. It's gonna be Corki coming in into the mid lane as a counter pick to that Cassiopeia, and the Galio actually gonna be flexing down to that bot lane, gonna be duking it out with the Callista against this Samira Alistair bot lane.
I really like that adaptation, and maybe they were planning it the entire time with the Callista Galio combo down on the bot side, and definitely is something that they could have been looking towards. And we just completely missed it here. The Galio, as a combination with the Callista, is such a lethal bot lane duo. So much CC for the Callista to be able to just run around and attack this Samira for three. Two ways of interrupting the Galio, or two ways of interrupting the Inferno trigger as well, just in the Galio itself, worth noticing. But overall, this bot lane and then the adaptation of putting a Corki into the mid lane, something that can scale evenly with this Cassio, going to work out pretty nicely, you'd think, for Omega Gaming Silence.
Yeah, that Casio pick, though, is going to be doing a lot to restrict a lot of the Omega Gaming members here. There's 4 dashes on various champions coming through on Omega Gaming side, and all of those are going to be grounded out with that miasma. Definitely going to be important to find some flanking angles or be able to attack this Cassiopeia at least from multiple angles to prevent yourself from being kind of locked down and unable to move around on these picks like the Jarvan, the Galio, or especially the Callista.
Exactly. These are the big cooldowns that we need to be looking at silence. And if they can work around that miasma from the Cassiopeia, because it is so lethal, as you allude to here, but taking a sort of wider scope out more so than anything else here, looking at both of the rosters, you can see that there's a very distinct identity for Soulbound here. They've got themselves Cassio, Samira, and the Nico as well. The two solo laners, both magical damage, and then Soulbound Mirage with the Poppy Samira combo. They've got a really nice mix of physical and magical damage here, and then across on Silence, they've got themselves obviously the Corki in the mid lane for some AP magical damage, but feeling a lot more AD oriented. And when you're up against something like the Poppy, who can build tanks so easily and so effectively, they might come unstuck a little bit if that Poppy starts getting just a little bit ahead.
Yeah, certainly going to be a possibility here, and I'm excited to see this Cassiopeia for specifically for the side of Soulbound Mirage. Feels like a bit of a departure from what a lot of we've seen in these playoffs thus far, and in the weeks leading up to it. This has always been a very assassin mid lane centric team, getting a lot of those Rumble picks, and then occasionally a spicy top lane sort of pick, something like a Rumble or a Malphite. But very few of these traditional kite back mages or things that are these kind of AP centric carries like this Cassiopeia.
Exactly, and until all of the champions were locked in, we had to sort of keep the option open that they could flex the Cassio into the top lane and send the Nico back into the mid lane here. Not going to be the case, obviously, but there is that flexible possibility. And you can see on the Soulbound Mirage team that their team fighting is very strong as well. Cassio, Samira, two incredibly late game scalers. Nico's value in a team fight, if she's able to get that really juicy Pot Blossom, will be exponential as well. Lots of things to go either way here. The team fight's definitely going to be interesting to look at, and going to be something to keep our eyes on because there's a lot of engaged potential across both sides, really. The Nico flank on one side and then Callista Ultimate Jarvan Galio combo on the other. There's a lot of ways of going in and not necessarily the same tools to get out.
I'm also curious if we could see a more split push oriented build coming out of this Nico. It's a more of an older build. It's been nerfed a couple of times. Isn't picked quite as often, even in the top lane, as the full AP Nico. But if there was a comp for it, it'd probably be something like this comp: the Cassiopeia Miasma, the Alistair, the Poppy being able to ground individuals and prevent dashes is one of the better kind of 3-man comps that you can run together to prevent being engaged on and enable a split pusher like that on hit Nico build that we've seen before.
Exactly, and versus something like the Gangplank, it shouldn't be too difficult with that amount of attack speed to start getting rid of those barrels and maybe start winning out on that side lane with. You'd have to imagine the Gangplank answering that, but we'll have to see how it develops. There's always the possibility of a Glacial Nico, and we just see, Spooky Ghost coming through the Hextech GLP and just becoming a bit more of a nuisance, more annoying, using the Nico for the utility, and then using North on this Cassio to be the leading source of magical damage through this comp.
Yeah, certainly. And then we got to look at these junglers here and what kind of interactions they're going to be able to have. Jarvan, probably a little bit more of an aggressive ganking jungler, especially in the early game, but the counter gank ability coming out of this Poppy is going to be significant. She's going to be able to interrupt the flag and drag at any point if she sees it coming through near her, and she's also going to be able to get stuns off of Jarvan's Cataclysm if she happens upon him when he wants to ultimate.
Exactly, and not just the Jarvan engage, but also any potential disengage coming through from most of the Omega Silence members here. Corki, if he wants to Valk away, can get interrupted. The Martial Poise from Kalista, the passive on its own, interrupted by Poppy, and the Galio Justice Punch as well. Lots of things for this Poppy to interrupt, and that Steadfast Presence right up there with the Miasma as one of those key cooldowns to keep track of in the team fights.
Yeah, definitely going to be keeping track of all of these team fight tools once we get into game. But first, we're going to take a short break here, get everything synced up, make sure everything is all set in the game. But then we will be right back to bring you every bit of the action. Don't go anywhere.
Runs his
I am not loaded in yet. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry about that delay, but we are getting on into game one of Soulbound Mirage versus Omega Gaming Silence, getting deeper into this tournament here with two first seeds facing off in the winner's side semifinal. My name is Gordo, and I'm joined once again by Rudude. Rudude, ready for game one?
Definitely am here. Some very interesting picks coming on through and something a little bit diverse from both rosters here. You know, Callista Galio bot lane from Omega Gaming Silence is definitely going to be quite aggressive, something that we need to keep our eyes on because it can definitely take over an early game. And then on the other side of that, we've got something a little bit different as an answer to the Gangplank. We've got a Nico in the top lane here, Steel City Warrior, going to be taking that one into the top lane for himself. Has opted for that Glacial Augment, has opted to go for that utility style Nico build, and we should see some definitely very interesting team fights erupting around the mid game.
Yeah, also interested to see that we got the Hail of Blades coming through from Best Turtle over on that Poppy pick. I don't know if that's more of a there's no good keystones to take on Poppy jungle situation, or if that has some kind of unique early burst potential there, or that he's actually going to use to try to get early ganks off.
I definitely think that Poppy has deceptively high early game base damages, and I'm not sure whether or not the Hail of Blades is going to be warranted here. I'm going to be interested to see how it works with that buckler, the passive auto attack going through, and if it just, you know, sort of super speeds one auto attack out, and then you keep whacking away as they're stunned into a wall. Definitely potential for an early aggressive Poppy stance coming on through, which is what we expect to see with that.
Yeah. Also
keystone.
some aggression in this bot lane, what we're expecting to see here coming out from the side of Omega Gaming. Azudo and Banjito here going to be favored with the Callista and Galio here.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to be looking to press their advantage, looking to assert some dominance in the early game. Samira, as well as an ADC, tends to want a little bit more time to scale up and get a couple of items in the inventory before she is, you know, fully unleashed, unlocked as a champion herself. And that level 6 marker, when she really does come online, and because you get to that level 6 marker and then you're able to use your style points to their full effectiveness, before that point, expect the bot lane to be very silence favored.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that may have gone a little understated in draft is when we assumed it was going to be Poppy's support, we were prepared to see the Galio, or sorry, the Callista actually being kind of countered out here by that Poppy pick. But now that the Poppy's in the jungle and they're left against this Alistar, the Callista has a lot more freedom to actually be more of a bully in this lane and to push forward onto the Samira as we're seeing right now.
Exactly, because, you know, don't get me wrong here, Alistar is a very good answer to the Callista, has a lot of potential to disrupt the Callista. But versus a Galio, as soon as that Alistar jumps in, pre-level 6, if he goes in, that is a one-way ticket, because the Galio will lock you up for so long that it's going to be really difficult. And Chorus on the top side.
Koro is going to get snared down here, going to get hit with that empowered auto attack, but going to be able to eat some oranges and stay alive for just a bit longer. Might have to be forced to take a recall here and use that teleport.
Yeah, just about alive on the top side there. Going down to the, you know, double-digit HP right there. Has got the corrupting potion, has got those oranges to keep himself safe. So at the end of the day, it's not all doom and gloom and not all bad. In the top side, he's going to be able to keep pacing, at least, with the HP. Is down about a wave in CS, but at the end of the day, he's still alive. Not giving up first blood at all so far, and that is still on the table here. And, you know, we're looking down at this bot lane because that is where we're expecting the action to happen in the early game, because the Callista, as we know, doesn't tend to do as well in the later stages of the game because of all of this CC potential that Soulbound Mirage have got for themselves. Can be quite difficult for the Callista to navigate late game team fights versus all of this CC, so we're looking for an early game advantage and for the Callista to be able to be at a point where the CC doesn't necessarily matter because she will just kill you before you get there.
Yeah, it was certainly something that the side of Omega Gaming was looking for. We can see they've already started the vertical jungling. Banky Kang was going on in to steal away that red side or that blue side golem camp, but weren't able to find a good angle to make the gank happen. Ended up just recalling, and now Best Turtle has gone over into his opponent's red side, taking away those birds, as Banky Kang's finding out now, and no real advantage has been generated.
No, exactly. A little bit of trading of jungle going on so far, and ultimately it's given a singular camp lead to Banky Kang, though that will be answered back with that Gromp being secured by Best Turtle, who's done a fairly full clear here, got his entire jungle, got a bot lane Scuttle Crab as well, so definitely off the mark, as we'd expect. Bot lane
Now there's
fighting.
going to be an engage here from the Alistar going in onto Banjito here, but Banjito going to be surviving it out, going to be tanking it up with the Aftershock, and the Alistar's going incredibly low. He's going to go down for first blood here, as Nutty Bar is now going to try to go in and see if he can turn it around 1v2. He's going to dash out of the way, very well played there, but not going to have enough damage to do this 1v2. Going to have to retreat under this tower. A good first blood pickup for the side of Omega Game.
Yeah, it's a good little dash to safety from Nutty Bars, but remember when I said that for the Alistar this was a one-way trip? He even doesn't even need to use the W to get in, and they still managed to get the kill onto this Alistar here. Overstepping the mark, they didn't respect the all-in potential of the Callista. Yes, the Blade Whirl was enough to save him for a little bit, but as we mentioned, that Rend being so powerful in the early game, not being blocked by the Samira W, really allowed Azuto and Banjito down here on the bot side to start themselves rolling, getting that first blood on the Callista. The prime target for Silence in this early game to get ahead has done just that.
Yeah, and that's absolutely critical there, especially without the assistance or interference of Banky Kang there. You could tell they were trying to path down there earlier in this game, and they couldn't make it happen, but they can make it happen in the 2v2 on their own off of a botched engage from the side of Soulbound Mirage. Exactly. Now, going to be some engaging going on in the top lane. Steel City Warrior getting good damage down onto this gangplank.
Yeah, and you can see that the item's definitely favouring the Nico on this top side so far. Got an Amplifying Tome and the Dark Seal, as well as the Doran's Ring for that early game combat power. But Best Turtle is in this bot brush. This could be dangerous.
Yeah, here we go. He's going in for it again. If at first you don't succeed, try again, as they're getting chain CC down onto the side of Azuto, and Azuto likely going to go down here as Best Turtle picks up the first kill. Banjito now fighting it out down bot lane, going to be picking up the Alistar along with Banky Kang here, trying to pick up Best Turtle, but he's going to flash away to survive, ends up getting the double kill. Now it's a trade in the top lane as Steel City Warrior is going to get a kill there as well. Now Banjito going to be going down over to the side of the Samira. Nutty Bar is picking up a kill for himself, and that is going to be a win across the map for Soulbound Mirage.
Yeah, 4 kills for Mirage right there. They get 3-piece down on the bot side and the solo kill in the top lane, while Koros is looking at the effect of the cannon barrage. Steel City Warrior spends no time wasted. Jumps on in on the gangplank, uses the flash, uses that Pot Blossom, and secures himself a solo kill up on the top side, netting himself 2 waves of a lead, and also that nice, juicy gold.
Yeah, no, and just like that, it looks like Soulbound Mirage able to turn it around a little bit. They pull Best Turtle down into the bot lane and are able to land some good chain CC onto Azuto, and at that point, the gold difference and the gold lead that he's accumulated does not matter. He was trapped against that wall for so long, taking damage, and was just melted through.
Yeah, Poppy Alistar, this lethal duo down on the bot side. Samira didn't even need to be there for that kill to happen. I mean, it's nice that she was, and as we see this blue get handed off to
good
Nurse.
Steal away.
Okay, you know, a little bit fancy with it. I think that was blind as well, so completely anticipated when that was going to be in the lethal range, and hey, props to him for that, because that denies Cassio the blue buff, which now she's got her tier isn't as big an issue, but it does mean that the tier won't get stacked as freely as North would have liked.
Yeah, a little Sherlock Holmes-esque deduction over from the side of your Nurse, just being able to watch his lane opponent start wandering over for that blue buff, know that he can go around the side and snipe it away with a big one before he can even get over to try to get it donated.
Exactly, really nice play from him in the mid lane, and with these 2 tier users, we'll say, in the mid lane here, both looking to get those stacked up as soon as possible. The extra mana for the Corki is going to go a long way to getting that started off nice and quickly. And we can see not quite completed the entire Manamune nor Arcane just yet, because obviously we're only 9 minutes into the game, would be incredibly early. But both of these mid laners farming really well here. 87 CS, 9 minutes in, 82 across the other side as well.
Mega is setting up for this Baron, and it's going to be the Alistar going for the engage here onto Azuto, but he might have bitten off more than he can chew here. Does not realize that Banky Kang is right over the wall. Banky Kang going to be able to jump over here. The Ren going to take down the Alistar, as Nutty Bars is now trying to kite it out with Banjito right on top of him. The Cataclysm going to go down onto Nutty Bars, but he's got the Inferno trigger going. He turns it around on a Banky Kang and is able to pick himself up another kill there. It's going to be a 1-for-2 all said and done, and now Soulbound Mirage have complete control over this dragon with the opposing jungler down.
Exactly, just because of the TP advantage in the top lane. Steel City Warrior TP's down, is able to give that little bit of extra support that Omega Gaming Silence didn't have in their back pocket. Chorus having to TP top lane earlier on due to the laning presence of this Nico has now snowballed the advantage into a nice gain of kills in the river, and also also the first dragon that goes a long way toward getting that soul.
And things are starting to look a little bit grim for Omega Gaming Silence here. They have the early game bot lane that wants to be snowballing ahead and getting these early dragons, and now they've lost 2 fights on that side of the map and have given away the first of the dragons. That's really not the start that you're looking for, and they've got to be looking at this strong, tanky Poppy that's late scaling Cassiopeia and the combo potential of this Samira, and starting to get worried about what's going to happen as we get 10 more minutes or 20 more minutes into this game.
Exactly. We know that the Soulbound Mirage roster does scale incredibly well, but we can't take away the scaling factors that Silence have drafted for themselves either. We talked about the Corki in the mid lane, has now completed that man immune and is going to get that tier stacks up nice and quickly. On the top side as well, Koros on that Gangplank, a champion that does so well past that Trinity Foresight and just gets stronger and stronger with every single item. So not all doom and gloom here for Silence. They still even are fairly close in the gold department as well, and with this Rift Herald going down, potential at least for the gold platings of the turrets to go back in the pocket of
A little bit more jungle shenanigans coming in from the side of Omega, but also Steel City Warrior getting engaged on by the side of Azuto here. Banjito is not done here, though. He and Banky Kang are flanking around on the other side. Here comes the Cannon Barrage just in time, and it looks like they're likely going to be able to pick up Steel City Warrior here. Excellent combo of spells there to keep his opponents strung down, but not actually going to be able to pick up any kills here as they go to re-engage. Finally, Azuto able to pick up the kill. A messy dive there without the assistance of the Callista, but they end up taking him down at the end of the day. And now they're going to get first turret with the assistance of this Rift Herald.
Exactly. Azuto going to be able to get that for himself as well. Really like that Banjito and Banky Kang back away at least for the platings to fall. And, you know, what I was going to say was that, well, if they only get a couple of plates out of that Rift Herald, then it's not actually worth it because of all of the plating that Soulbound Mirage have got on the bot side here. They've taken effectively 4 plates off of this turret, all on their own.
May not be able to prevent this one, and he does not. It looks like the charge did go through, at least per the mini-map, and they're going to be picking up a counter turret down here in the bottom lane. Not going to be getting that first turret blood, but going to be at least be equalizing the turrets across the map.
Exactly, so they get themselves, you know, a bit of retribution, we'll say, because Silence also got themselves a kill in that play as well. They'd have to burn the heal to make sure that Banky Kang didn't fall, but that is a worthy sacrifice to make. And already, I mean, Samira hasn't yet recalled, but we can see that the sort of item and a half here spike for Callista. One of the strongest points of Callista here is that Blade of the Ruin King with the Berserker Greaves as well, and once she gets that Rune Hands, that is Callista's peak. Post then it sort of tends a little bit downwards, but she's on a good trajectory so far, keeping pace and is actually slightly ahead of the Samira with those tier 2 boots as well. Now transitioned her into the mid lane with 2 objectives coming up in the next 2 minutes or so. Gonna have to wait and see, because you can see here that Soulbound Mirage, they're waiting, they're lurking, they want to get this bounty off of the Callista because they know the threat that she is.
They do, but there's no objectives left on the map at the moment, so everybody just going to be going back to their jungles, picking up whatever farm they can, and waiting probably about 1:30 for this next dragon to spawn. Omega Gaming going to want to be getting back on track with that, but on the other hand, Soulbound Mirage going to be looking to try to interrupt it wherever they can. Now both parties going to be meeting in the mid lane, trying to get some of that mid prio as early as they can. See if anything happens here. They are looking for a flank here onto Banky Kang, going to be getting the snare down, but he does buffer it successfully with the flag and drag going to escape.
Really good buffer there, basically neutralizing the flash of Best Turtle right there. Going to be able to waste that entire cooldown effectively with the nice use of the flag and drag combination. Gets himself out, no harm, no foul whatsoever. And you can see now the pressure that they keep continuing to put in this mid lane, not getting what they want from it. You know, when you expend so many resources into a mid lane play, you expect something to come out of it. But Azuto and Banjito are playing it so carefully, so safely, with the vision and the knowledge that they have of where everybody is, that they know when they can step up. Azuto here is 1v2 in the lane, but he just feels so free to step up because he has the Galio right behind him with the ultimate, and obviously knows where the rest of the enemy team are in particular. Not really too much hassle for him as he's trying to step up and get rid of these last few minions in the mid lane.
Yeah, everybody grouping up here for this dragon spawn. Koros all alone in the top lane, but he does have access to that teleport. Steel City Warrior does not quite have that available yet, so he's going to be going straight to the dragon. No teleporting in for him. His wave in top is going to be crashing, so can his team use his presence to help turn this dragon? As it spawns up, just going to be getting hit away by some of that barrage from Corki, going to be forcing the opposing team out of the river. Look out for Koros' teleport. Look out for any engage opportunity from Banky Kang here as they're going to be starting up the dragon.
Exactly. Flag and Drag available for Banky Kang, but it looks like they're just going to trade this Drake for the top lane tier 2, which, as we remember, did get that charge off, so it does mean Koros is able to take that down fairly quickly due to the true damage that did come through from the Herald charge. And now, with the Cloud Drake, with the Ocean Drake having been slain, we now know it's going to be an Infernal Rift here. And now we're going to get a lot more damage coming through across either of these sides, be it from an early soul for Soulbound Mirage or through just a stacking of Infernal Dragons.
Yeah, certainly is one of the better Drakes to be getting 4 stacks of, so Omega Gaming at least has that to turn back to. But taking the inner top turret for the Dragon, probably not the trade that you most wanted to make, but at least it is something that they were able to do after they get forced out of the river and aren't really able to get the kind of positional advantage they want to be able to take that. Now they're going to be closing in here onto Banjito. He's got to be a little careful here.
Yeah, he's just trying to make sure that Azuto doesn't miss any of the minions under the turret here, and at the end of the day, he doesn't. He's able to get in there with the Pierce and jump on in for those last couple melee creeps. And I actually really like the build path that I see from Azuto. Looks like he's going for the Ginsu's Rageblade as his second item. So, you know, effectively increasing the spears that he's going to be generating by sort of 66% here. Going to be getting those phantom auto attacks every 3 times he gets, or yeah, every time he goes for those stacks. Going to be building up a lot faster, and versus this potential very tanky front line, all the stacks are going to matter because it could be the difference between getting the reset and not getting the reset here in team fights.
Yeah, certainly going to be the case here, and he's going to be looking to get up a lot of those stacks onto some of the tankier frontline members on the side of Soulbound Mirage. This Poppy and this Alistar are going to take a lot of out attacks before they can go down, so being able to stack up that rend on those targets and being able to get even more out of each auto attack is going to be very important for taking down some of these champions that are definitely going to be itemizing towards armor against a team comp like the side of Omega Gaming Silence. Left to only the Corki for Magic Damage, who is going to be engaging with the package, but is going to fail his flash over the wall and likely going to get picked up here. Steel City Warrior picks up a kill onto Your Nurse off of a mistake from his side, but now they're just going to be turning around along with Banky Kang and Azuto, now engaging on a Nutty Bars, who might be off a little bit farther than he can be, but he's able to dash on out with that Samira. He's got to watch out for Rend here, as a flash forward from Azuto is going to actually pick him up. Azuto goes on a killing spree. They were not able to track down the Callista and were not able to take him down, and so he's able to carry the fight.
Exactly, and as one of the marksmen kind of runs it there, the other one is able to step up. Azuto on the Callista, this early game powerhouse that we've been talking about, steps up huge, wins out the team fight. They're looking to force on the Rift Herald though, and they could be contested.
Warrior and North feel very powerful on these early game AP champions. Going to be going for an engage here from Banjito, but they're going to take down Banjito in trade. Now they have to be backing off here. They got to watch out for Steel City Warrior and the slows he's able to dish out with that Glacial Augment. Now going on to Koros here, but Azuto turns around and just melts through North on his own. Now going to be going in onto the Alistar, likely going to pick him up as well for a double kill. He wants the triple. He wants to go for Steel City Warrior, going to be snared down, but picks it up anyway. That's a triple kill to the side of Azuto, and another advantage for the side of Omega Gaming Silence.
Yeah, and I love that you say to the side of Azuto, because that was all him right there. Turtle could be looking for Nurse.
Oh, now once again going in onto Nurse here, does not able to get out with his W. Now is able to do so once the steadfast presence is what it's called is able to go down. Now they're just going to be backing out here from this jungle. Banky Kang looking for a potential engage, but not going to be able to find one unless Best Turtle walks right up to try to steal this, but not going to be able to close the gap.
No, W will be back up for the Poppy, so they're going to just accept it, walk away, and going to continue back with the rest of this game here. But that team fight from Azuto, both of them really coming up absolutely huge for Omega Gaming Silence, able to distinctly put himself ahead of the curve right here with that 700 gold bounty. 7 out of the 9 team's kills are in his pocket, and you can see it reflected in the items that he's got. Now has that fully completed Rageblade, and if that wasn't enough, is working himself toward that Runan's Hurricane, maybe even a Phantom Dancer, and going for really single target heavy damage, but we'll have to wait and see what that goes into. Definitely should be a Zeal item though.
Yeah, absolutely what we're expecting to see here. And now, once again, we do have another dragon coming up shortly, going to be the next Infernal Drake in about 40 seconds here, as we're going to see both teams going to be grouping up around there. And once again, Koros, with that teleport available, is going to be pushing into the top lane. He's got an inhibitor tower to knock on this time.
Exactly, and this is where I want to see Silence contesting because of the power that is in Azuto. And it's now going to be on the likes of Your Nurse and Koros to start stepping up in their respects of damage, because for now, Soulbound Mirage know exactly who they need to focus. There is absolutely zero doubt in their mind that the Callista is the lead threat. So we want to see Gangplank, Corki stepping up, starting to do more damage and more in the team fights, because Azuto is going to be very focused on.
Yeah, Banky Kang does also have access to this Rift Herald, so he's going to drop that down in the mid lane to try to pull some members away as this dragon spawns. The side of Soulbound Mirage doesn't have any
Early
members over in that
TP.
mid lane. Aren't quite going to be able to answer it here. Kroos is here with the TP. They're going to be starting up this dragon, going to be stacking down those Ren stacks onto it. Azudo looking for a potential engage here as Banky Kang going to dive in with the Cataclysm. Azudo forced to back away because of the presence of the Alistar, but he gets locked down on the other side. He's likely going to be taken down here, but Koros going to take down North on the same breath. But unfortunately, the Inferno trigger going through for the side of Nutty Bars. It looks like Omega Gaming not going to get the fight win that they wanted. Azudo has been taken down. That was the key member we were looking at, and now they're going to pick up their third dragon of the game. They're going to be hunting for Koros here, and they're going to take the advantage.
Exactly, a huge flank from Soulbound Mirage, able to take down the Callista before she's even able to throw out an auto attack. They're not even able to cast the ultimate to try and get some safety from the Galio either. A really well orchestrated dive onto the backline by the members of Soulbound Mirage right there. We can see Hex Flash from the Alistar, also the Callista flashing, or the Samira rather, flashing in, that Inferno trigger going off and popping the Callista right there, able to pick up a nice 1,000 gold bounty for the Samira as well. So that's going to snowball her to that Infinity Edge, get that going a lot faster than would have been if that Drake or that fight had gone a different direction. And now, we talked about the fact that the Callista was one of the really strong members and we needed the other guys to step up. Corking Gangplank there, not having the effect they needed to. And now the Callista is going to be really hard pressed to find a similar position that she was able to for the rest of the game.
Yeah, able to take down North over on this Cassiopeia, but that is about all. Got locked down in the Cataclysm for Banky Kang, and they were able to just dish out enough damage to melt through him. But at the same time, their AD carry was just getting jumped on by this Nico and by this Alistar. And if they aren't able to keep her safe from that, then she's just going to go down every time. Cannot be this solo carry without any sort of peel available to her. And honestly, the rest of their teammates, not quite the best peelers either.
Exactly, we talked about the fact that they're all DPS sources, but with DPS doesn't necessarily come peel, so we're really looking to Banjito really as that soul carry or that soul disengaging member. And here we can see Turtle doing his best Hecarim cosplay on the Poppy, going for the Trinity Force as that second item. So even if the Poppy gets on top of the Callista here, he's going to be dishing out a considerable amount of damage with that Phage in the inventory. Double daggers as well in combination with that Hail of Blades. This Poppy going to be auto-attacking real quick if we get her to see it.
Yeah, going to be moving real quick too, along with the speed boost that they get from Steadfast Presence, as well as the speed boost from that Phage there. Now, Banky Kang going to be looking for an engage here onto North. Is going to be met along with the Cannon Barrage, going to force the Flash out of that Cassiopeia, but nothing more.
This is something that I really like from teams, is when they send a split pusher and then they send somebody to shadow it as well, because typically teams will only expect one member to go with, to that side lane, but if you send two, right there you get an advantage. Banjito caught though.
Now potentially a fight here as Alistar going to be flanking around from the outside, going to be engaging onto Banjito here along with Steel City Warrior, who's going to be fishing around for those snares. But meanwhile, Best Turtle getting engaged on here by Banky Kang and Azudo, going to knock Azudo as far away as possible. But Banky Kang still on the chase. Might be a turnaround here from the Alistar though as he gets knocked up. But now Azudo has returned from being flung away. He's going to be engaging here onto this Alistar along with a flank from Koros. But the rest of the team coming in from the jungle going to be engaging right on the Banky Kang. He's going to flash away and be met with an ult from his support, Banjito. Now Banjito going to be going in trying to get a flank off. Nurse going to come through and take down the Alistar. It is a 1-for-0 so far, but perhaps nothing else as both teams going to back away, and Omega Gaming going to move towards the Baron.
And they can definitely look to challenge this here. They've got the Callista stacking up that rend consistently throughout the course of this fight against the big purple worm here. Corki as well, nearly completed those two items, and now we're going to have to see Mirage. They have to contest. Baron at 6k. Can they do anything about it though?
Maybe going to have to peel off and fight for this as their frontline members are getting a little bit low on the Baron. Going to be engaging with the Alistar onto Nutty Bars and Steel City Warrior, but there is no follow-up as Banjito just going to get turned around, but the Baron is going to go down to the side of Omega Gaming. Now Azudo going to be forced to flash out of the Baron pit as Nurse is trying to take down as many members as he can. It looks like they're actually able to win this fight along with the benefit of the Cannon Barrage. But Banky Kang going to be interrupting the recall here so that Koros can come through and finish off Best Turtle. That's going to be 2 kills. Now it's going to be Your Nurse looking for as many kills as he can get. North getting flanked on here by the Gangplank, not quite going to be able to get it off as Cataclysm comes through and Jarvan is forced to flash out. Now North going to be engaged on by Koros, but not going to actually get the barrel down. North going to have to back away here, going to get picked up by Banky Kang, but Koros getting flanked in on by the side of Samira. Now Samira going in, trying to solo carry despite the way that Azudo did previously, and going to likely be able to do it as Alistar takes down Azudo. It is the Baron going to Omega Gaming Esports, but it is a 3-for-3 all said and done across the map, 4 if you count Banjito.
When the Baron goes the way of silence, but they've got it on maybe one singular member being that Jarvan, and time again right there, Alistair with some really nice auto attacks. I'm not going to lie, it's very rare that we get to compliment Alistair on his auto attacking capability, but taking down those Gangplank barrels, saving North for long enough inside that Cataclysm, for the Cassiopeia to put out enough DPS to harm Azuto, to take down Koros, was actually the difference maker in that re-engage of the team fight. We've got 15 seconds on the Infernal Dragon. The fighting isn't going to stop for a little bit here, because this is sole point for Mirage. Last time around, Azuto died very early on. This time we've got Corki, who is a threat. Gangplank has 2.5 items now. More DPS from more sources means that the engage from Soulbound Mirage has to be a lot cleaner and executed on more members.
Yeah, Omega Gaming cannot give this up. They absolutely need to be in here. There's a lot of ability still on cooldown from the last fight, though. They do not have access to the Cataclysm, and they do not have access to the Fate's Call, and they do not have access to the Heroic Entrance. Now, they're going to be standing here. Luckily, they are in the river first, so they're going to be able to start off this dragon as Alistair flanking around from the outside. Best Turtle also coming in here, looking to see if he can get an engage here. Going to try to fling away the Jarvan, not going to land the ultimate onto him, so it's going to be a 50-50 here for the dragon. They do have Ren to try to take it even lower, but it's staying up even higher. It's going to be stolen away. No, it's not. Banky Kang able to take it down. It's the Heroic Entrance now, going to look on to knock down as many targets as they can. Cataclysm comes through onto Alistair. Alistair going to be the target, but that is not the focus that you want. Now, your Nurse going to be going in here on to the Nico, going to take him down as well. Nutty Bars, though, is soloing out this fight. Already has the triple kill, but is going to get taken down by your Nurse on the other side. Now, Alistair is the only member left alive. It's a triple kill for the side of your Nurse. Your Nurse looking to make a quadra here. You've got to believe he's going to be able to do it as he wins this fight in a 5-for-4 trade. He finally picks it up. An ace for the side of Omega Gaming Silence, and they take away the dragon. That's as best as you could hope for.
And that team fight on a knife's edge the entire time. A huge pop blossom from Steel City Warrior, managing to take Azuto into a stasis and nearly taking him down as well. It was so close on every single front, but your Nurse, this new mid laner, the substitute mid that they've brought in for playoffs of Omega Gaming Silence, able to carry the important team fight, stepping up when it mattered most. They get the soul, they get the fight, and they're still in this game.
Yeah, keeping themselves alive on a knife's edge here as they're able to continue to win out on these fights. They have so many threats available on the side of Omega Gaming Silence. They've gotten 2 items onto this Corki. They've gotten 2 items onto this Gangplank, and now it isn't just about Callista anymore, and they're able to have so many threats in so many places, and so many members on the side of Soulbound are squishy enough to take down that they're able to find ways to win these fights.
Exactly, and we can see that it is, in fact, the Phantom Dancer for Azuto, so he's even trying to buy a little bit of time with his item choices here. Going to be going for a very lifesteal-oriented next couple of items, you have to imagine. That one either being the BT or the Death Stance, which is something that we've seen as so popular across most AD champions, I'll say at this point, because it is just such an insane-o item. That being said, though, with the Infernal Drake going down means that there are no objectives to fight for the next couple of minutes. Baron spawning in 2, and it gives a little bit of time for the teams to recuperate, to sort of readjust and reassess their situations in this game. Although,
looking for an engage here, going to be landing the Cataclysm onto 2, followed up with by the package, but now your Nurse is left all alone, 1v4. He's going to be shut down immediately, and just like that, it's a 4v5 on the map, and Soulbound Mirage take the advantage.
Exactly, and now they're going to be able to charge wherever they so please here with those 4 members available to themselves in the mid lane, looking for Azuto.
Oh, now might be able to get an engage here. They know they're 4v5 on the map, so they know they have a lot of opportunity. Justice Punch going to get out of the range of the snare from Nico there. Is everybody going to be forced to back away, except for perhaps Koros, who's split pushing in top lane, going to be looking for this inhibitor tower. They're going to have to send somebody back to answer him. It looks like the choice is going to be North.
But Banky Kang's here as well, once again shadowing the split push. This is just going to be a trade of turrets here. Looks like they've got the inhibitor turret. They're going to work on the inhibitor as well. TP is coming through from the Nico.
Yeah, potential waste of this advantage, especially if they're able to turn on to North, but North feels strong enough to go for the 1v2. Steel City Warrior showing up here to make it a 2v2. He's going to land a large pop blossom on a Koros, going to get cleansed away immediately by the Oranges. Now just going to be backing away, landing a big barrel onto Steel City Warrior, but they do not want to take this 2v2. But across the map, Turtle is coming for the flank, but your Nurse is teleporting in the top lane, as it looks like we're going to actually end up with a team fight off of this starting 2v2. Your Nurse coming through, going right in onto the Poppy, going to be melting through him incredibly quickly. It's only tanks here onto Koros. They can't take him down. They're just going to get melted through by your Nurse, now going to get knocked up by a flash EQ from the Jarvan. His Nutty Bar is also engaged on. He's going to get 1v1 by Azudo. Now it's going to be going on to Cassiopeia. She's dead as well. Now flash forward from your
That's
Nurse, redeeming
game.
himself for the earlier fight, gets a triple kill, and that's going to be the game, as they already have the exposed inhibitor here. They're carrying through a large amount of minions, and they're going to be able to take the Nexus and take game one.
You have to imagine that they're going to be able to do this here. Waiting for the wave in the top lane here, but an absolutely colossal macro misstep by the side of Soulbound Mirage right there. They look to collapse on the top side duo, but 5 members of Silence appear from the woodwork. They're going to take down the towers and take down the Nexus.
Yeah, it's only best turtle available. He can't stop 5 members, and so it's going to be the Nexus going down in game 1 to the side of Omega Gaming. They go up 1-0 in this best of 3, where the winner will go on to the winners finals of the Risen Divine League.
And what an absolute turnaround right there from your Nurse with that package into 3 members, falling so incredibly quickly, to the cross-map play by Koros and Banky Kang, the presence of mind to realize, okay, we can't defend mid lane, but do you know what we can do? We can go top lane and we can make things happen there. And from that little step themselves, instead of trying to defend with GP, the fact that they're able to go up to the top side, throw out the top lane tier 3 turret, and then just win a team fight top, that ends them the game with that decision making. And yes, it's obviously not great that your Nurse is throwing away his life like that with the packages, but it got them the win in the end. In the long haul, it worked out. So overall, you have to imagine that it was not calculated by any means, but they're going to be happy with the end result.
Yeah, certainly. And then something that everybody on both sides is going to have to watch out for coming on into game 2, as it's pretty clear that either side could have taken this with maybe 1 or 2 more things going their way. So definitely going to be looking to see how these teams adapt coming into game 2, where they feel their biggest successes were, and how they feel they can change that. I think an early point to look at is actually this Gangplank from Koros, because this was a hard counter pick that they did a lot of draft work to get for themselves, and it did not work out.
No, exactly. They left it open, which is something that teams do not do against Koros. It gets taken away from him time and time again. But like you say, leaving it open and them thinking that the Nico would be good enough to answer it. Yes, he got a solo kill in the top lane, but it wasn't enough to keep him down for the duration. We saw it in those team fights. In those closing stages, the barrels doing so much work at disengaging, pumping out damage, pumping out slows, that they need to reevaluate if they can give this over once again.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with all of that in the books, we are going to take a quick break here as we get everybody loaded on up into Champions Select for Game 2. As soon as the players are picking their champions, we will be right back on stream to cover it for you guys. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.